As live, sitting in traffic currently, being safe, doing hands-free on this live edition, if you will. It's a little early compared to my normal content. Wanted to do a video. I'm seeing a little bit of a problem. Met a great guy last night, a nice guy. Nothing bad to say about him. However, we were chatting and, we were just talking about, the new changes coming in the industry and the fact that there is, there's classes going on. There's a lot of different instructors that are doing classes on this. And this particular gentleman works for a company that sells products, and I think it's great that they're offering a class. But the problem I after chatting with him that I started to find was, I asked him some simple questions. One of them being about the mitigation and a lot of the equipment, which, is in my opinion, a pretty big deal. It's something that if you're going to teach a class, something you should address. I'm not saying you need to know I don't know everything, so I'm not saying he needs to know everything. But if you're going to teach a class on this, I think that that's something you should definitely bring up. It's something you should definitely talk about. And, so I asked him a simple question about the mitigation and the equipment, and he kind of looked like a deer in headlights. And ultimately said, again, not a knock on this guy, nice guy. I appreciated the time that I had with him, but ultimately his overall theme of his class, he was telling me, is just to point out to professionals or technicians that, these refrigerants are nothing to be scared of. And I agree with that. I think that we need to be serious with the safety and the handling of these new refrigerants, A2L, mildly flammable refrigerants, but we don't need to be scared of these refrigerants. Ultimately, I 100% agree with him on that. But to me, ultimately, if he's not covering certain things in his class that I think are a big deal, if technicians are taking his class expecting to get all the information, and then this equipment starts launching, in their mind, they think, well, I took the class, I'm in the know, I know what's going on. And then they start laying hands on this equipment and they start seeing things that are there for the mitigation of this in this new equipment. So basically, if you don't know what I'm talking about, the new equipment coming out is going to have sensors in there that we've never had before. I'm not saying we've never had any type of sensors, but this particular type of sensor that will now be in all the A2L compatible equipment, these sensors are going to sense a refrigerant leak and go into a mitigation mode. So if they sense a leak in the A2L refrigerants, they will go into mitigation. It'll essentially, now again, I haven't laid hands on any of the unitary equipment, so I don't know everything either. But as I understand it, it will go into some sort of hard lockout. The indoor fan motor will run and the outdoor unit will lock out, right? So that's the gist of what we're going to see, okay? These sensors, in some cases, maybe even new boards, new hardware, and the system will go into a mitigation mode. Nothing unheard of. We've seen furnaces with different types of mitigation. If a certain limit switch opens, the inducer fan will turn on and go into a mitigation mode. Not a huge out of the crazy, ordeal, especially if you point that out to guys. If I point that out to guys that are taking my class, I'll usually point out, hey guys, this is nothing new. This is nothing to lose sleep about. We're used to seeing these sorts of things. And usually they'll be like, okay, got it. Okay, we're going to see new sensors. There's going to be mitigation in this equipment. And okay, got it. Now I know. When I see this equipment for the first time as it comes out and launches, I got it. I'm on board now, right? And so, again, not a knock on this other instructor. If he didn't know, he didn't know. But when I asked him a simple question like that and he didn't even know what I was talking about, it became a concern for me. And so I guess my point in doing this video, I'm about to go through the Virginia Beach tunnel. I'm being safe, hands free. I've got my phone mounted, so sorry for all the bouncing around. But I think the point here is, if you are a pro and you see this video, I want you to understand that not all the class. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing. I'm not knocking this other guy. I don't everything either. I'm not knocking the guy. But you need to understand that just because you took a class does not mean you have all the information yet. I would encourage you. I've had guys take my class that have said, "Oh yeah, this is the third one I've sat in. This is the second one I've taken. I took one down the street. Now I'm taking yours. I want to get all the information." I would encourage you, if you're a pro, to take multiple classes and make sure you know what's up, especially if they're free. Take a moment. I know you're getting busy. It's summertime, but get all the information. Know what's going on, because this instructor, he didn't know what I was talking about, and he's teaching the same class I am. And I think they're even including a cute little certificate with their classes. And I'm not even doing that. I'm just giving the information. I'm not doing a test. I'm not doing a cute little certification. I'm not doing any of that. I want our customers at my company to know what's going on, have all the information, and be in the know. And so that's the point of my class. And so again, not a knock on this other instructor. I'm sure he's doing everything that he can. He was provided, as I understand it, slides, and he's just teaching off of those PowerPoint slides. But if you're a pro and you take his class, you didn't get all the information. If the instructor didn't even know about the new mitigation, the hardware and the overall operation of the equipment that's coming out, he's got all these class, and they know what's going on. And so, again, not a knock on him. I'm sure he was a nice guy. I appreciated his time. We talked about a number of things. But again, if you're a pro or if you're a homeowner, talk to your pro. Make sure that they've taken a few different classes and that they know what's going on, because, I would want them to know. I would want a pro, my technician, to have been through a class or two and know what's going on. That's the other thing I'm seeing. A lot of pros are just like, well, I'll cross that bridge when I get here, when all the equipment comes out. And I was talking to a guy just the other day, and I brought up the left-hand threads, and he's like, left-hand threads, what do you mean? And I'm like, you need to take my class. You'll know what's going on if you take some classes. So again, sorry for the bouncing. Hopefully it wasn't too distracting or motion sick wise. I just wanted to get on here. I'm doing my live show tonight. I do want to announce, if you see this, if you don't watch our live show, you need to. We've got some awesome people coming up. We've got guests sometimes, and you got to see my live show on Tuesday nights. But the other thing I wanted to announce is we are moving the live show. It's going to be its own channel. We have a whole channel that we're building out just for the live show for a couple of different reasons. Partly because some of our content is not just for homeowners. We're having some awesome guests on, and I think YouTube gets confused sometimes. They're like, well, you're doing this content for pros here, and now you're doing this content for homeowners. what's your stuff about here? And I think the algorithm gets a little confused sometimes. But anyway, we're going to be starting a whole nother channel just for the live show. Make sure you're following that. That'll be launching in the next week. And we're going to move the live show and everything over to there. And I've got some awesome guests coming up. I've got one of the top trainers in the country going to be on our show. I've got the guy that hosts the #1 podcast in the country coming on our show. I've got an instructor that is, very well known in our industry coming on our show. So some of the top people in our industry are going to be coming on our little show, our little itty bitty heating and air show, which is so cool. But again, make sure I'm going to launch it. I'll announce it on our channel. Everything is moving as far as the show goes over to there. Still on Tuesday nights, still at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Pacific. Find out what that time is in your time zone. But we're going to move everything over, and make sure you're following us there. Other than that, again, the theme here, if you're tuned in late, not all the classes are created equal. I'm talking to some of the instructors, and they're just simply not covering certain things that I believe are big deals, big things, big changes with the A2L refrigerants. So make sure that if you are a pro, maybe you need to take a couple classes. Be in the know what's going on. To me, if you know what's going on, you won't be surprised. So anyway, let me know if you like this. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let me know if you like a lot. I might do more of these where I'm on the road. I need to get a better setup so it doesn't bounce so much. But let me know if you like these where I'm, just sharing a thought or two on my commute to a class. I'm teaching classes this morning. And let me know if you like this style of video. That said, I appreciate all you guys. Make sure you subscribe to the new channel where the live show is moving. Otherwise, you'll miss it. And again, that'll launch in the next week or so. So I will be live tonight, though. So make sure you're there for that on this channel. So thank you, guys. Have a great day. We'll see you then. Take care.